Manic Mercurian here, back again with another chart reading for today. And before I do the chart reading, I just want to say to the person who requested this, thank you for your patience. I've gotten a lot more requests lately, so I'm a little bit behind, but and thank you for the patience of everyone else too whose charts I haven't read yet. But if you've already requested your chart reading, I do have them all on my to-do list, and I will post them in the following week or two. I am doing them in chronological order according to when they were requested. And I'm getting enough requests now that I actually have started to charge for readings. So if you already requested one, I'm not going to charge you. But for anyone, currently requesting readings now, I am charging $5 per reading. And let me see here. And I am humbled though by all the attention and the energy that I've received. I'm glad a lot of my information has resonated with so many of you, if I can talk. So yeah, that's been really cool, and I'm happy to share this information for sure. Okay, let me just make sure. I think that's all I wanted to say. So let's go into the reading here. So this reading is for November 18th, 1955 at 9:47 p.m. in St. Paul, Minnesota. And it's so funny because I have this list of readings I have to do, and the birthdays are November, December, November, October. There's such a clear pattern with the people who've been requesting readings. I don't know if that's to do with my channel or just people who are into astrology in general, but definitely interesting to notice these patterns. And then it's interesting too because for a few readings, I had so many people with a sun or moon in the 12th house, and then sun or moon in Scorpio. Here we have another Scorpio, a lot of Scorpios. And then now there's a pattern with these last couple readings of sun or moon in the 6th house as well. So anyway, let's get on with the reading here. So this person has sun in Scorpio, moon in Capricorn, Leo rising. And okay, so let's start with the luminaries here. So having sun in Scorpio and moon in Capricorn to me would suggest that you're a very private person. You're sort of guarded with your emotions, and you might not even consciously do this. It's just you just naturally keep things to yourself, especially really big or heavy emotional things, or I don't know, maybe big events in your life, or problems that you have. You kind of just deal with things yourself. I mean, it's admirable, I think, and I think it makes for an interesting person, a responsible person, because you don't rely on other people for help. You just take care of things yourself. So that's really cool. That's admirable. That's really good to have in a person. The drawback, I think, is that it can be hard for you to have intimate relationships, especially earlier in life. It can be hard to trust people, or to even be able to open up to even give anyone that trust, because from a young age you just kind of grow up being so self-reliant that it's almost like it's in your blood or in your DNA. It's hard to even imagine being kind of vulnerable or open, or being openly emotional or sensitive with someone, and putting that trust in someone else. And especially with moon in Capricorn. So moon is in detriment in Capricorn, and so moon ruling, our family and our upbringing to some extent, and our emotional core. All that is in detriment for you. So that sort of ideal, like, soft and nurturing upbringing that we might want to have growing up, you didn't really have. It was much more stoic, and you I always say, you learn discipline and structure at an early age. You were just, people with moon in Capricorn, they either had parents that were absent, or parents that were very strict and very disciplining. Either, like, even if your parents loved you, they may have just been very strict, or very disciplining toward you. And so you learn to be very self-reliant at a young age, and you're definitely not afraid to put in the hard work, and to get things done. And again, I think that's really admirable. It's really cool. It's definitely a challenging energy to experience yourself, because you don't have that kind of comfort zone growing up. You have to be strong. But I think it makes for an interesting person, because you don't put your emotions on other people. You don't put your baggage on other people, and that's very admirable. Let's see what else is Scorpio and Capricorn. They really have a lot in common, and having your sun and moon there, I would think you're very ambitious, but in a very, especially with Leo rising too, because you have that ability to be kind of charismatic, or I think you could be a really good leader because Scorpio and Capricorn, like their reputations are important to them, and they know how to gradually climb to the top of any, corporate or social or career ladder. They're known for this because they are so steady. Both Scorpio and Capricorn are so ambitious, but it's not like Aries ambitious. It's not like they just run out and go out and grab what they want. They slowly, steadily continue to work. They put in the hours every day, and they do so, gradually, but also quickly. So they actually they put in just enough work to be, definitely, um, thought in high regard and for good reason because they have put in the work. But they can rise, they can, rise up through the chains or climb the ladders very relatively quickly by doing this. So you definitely have that knack, and I think whatever your career is, that you would be very good at it, and that you could be, um, you could gain a lot of authority and respect, a lot of responsibility because you have put in the work and shown that you're responsible. And again, coming back to the reputation bit, so I do think that you would have a good reputation. So um, this, almost all your planets, except for Uranus, which had just risen above the eastern horizon, but all your planets are below the horizon. So, on the one hand, much of your being is kept under wraps, especially with Sun and Scorpio and Moon and Capricorn. So, you're a very private person. However, at the same time, I think you're very able to I don't know, to have a good air about you, or especially like in public situations, or like in crowds, you could seem, very respectable. Like you are very respectable. You have that authority about you, and I don't know. I think you could very much give a good impression, and that you could. I don't know. I could almost see you like giving a speech or something, or like you have that ability to. I don't know, to network if you need to, or just to, to have those kind of social skills to seem like you know what you're talking about because you do. So there's these kind of, it might sound a little bit contradictory, but on the one hand you're a very private person, but on the other hand I think you're very much able to give off a good, reputation, good first impression, and to be highly respectable, highly respected by others. Especially with midheaven and Aries. So that's really a pattern that I'm seeing with Leo rising and midheaven and Aries. I don't know. I don't know how to really accurately articulate it, but I think you could really command an audience, or like you have a commanding presence about you. But again, I would almost see you as more of an introvert, but at the same time, someone who has that ability to make a good appearance and to be very professional, or very um likable maybe, but in a kind of professional context. It's more about respect than it is about being liked. I see you as very much being respected. um so I don't know, I almost think you could be a good politician or something. Yeah, I really do actually, especially Scorpio and Capricorn are really good signs for politicians as well. It's just funny because I see you as being a very introverted, not closed off, but a very private person, but at the same time having a really good ability to be a leader of sorts. Okay, and then let's get kind of more into the specifics here. But I really want to stress that what I said, because I see it in so many. Sometimes that happens where I start to see a pattern, and then you can see it all over the chart. And I really, there's multiple indicators showing what I just said. So I think that's a big thing, that you're private yet very respectable and have authority. Anyway, so let's get into the more specifics here. So you actually have South Node in Gemini. I've noticed your chart is not very airy, but you do have South Node in Gemini. Yes, you're definitely able to connect with people, and to, from a young age, you actually might have kind of been too ready to mold yourself to be what other people wanted or expected. Like, I think you've always kind of had that ability of you being charismatic is not really the right word. Maybe charismatic, but I don't know. You just know kind of how people work and how to, have a good impression, or how to be the right way with people. I think you've always been someone who knew how to handle people, I guess is a good way to put it. Definitely seeing that in multiple places in your chart. But you have, let's see, other than that, you don't have a lot of air placements. It's mostly fire and water and earth for you. Excuse me. And you have Venus conjunct North Node. And so I think you can really grow in relationships. And I think, like, especially like romantic relationships, romantic, intimate relationships, even relationships with family would be really hard for you at a young age, or having really close friendships. And again, there's that pattern again of being so good with people. You can totally talk to people. You can seem the right way. You can act the right way. You can have a good impression. You can be respectable and even liked. But it's hard for you to really truly connect with people and to open up. You have so many layers and walls. So I think a lot of your growth throughout life will have to do with learning to kind of open up and not take things so seriously, because having a lack of air in your chart, it can mean that things can feel too heavy for you. They can feel too serious, especially at a young age, especially with Capricorn placements, with your moon in Capricorn. It's, they are more miserly, or more it's like the Benjamin Button effect, I call it, because if you've seen that movie, he's born old and becomes younger as he ages. So that's kind of what Capricorn placements do. Um, you would start out more maybe serious and taking things very heavily. And Capricorn placements are known to, really get a great sense of humor as they get older, and they learn to lighten up a bit, not take things so seriously. And I do kind of see this for you because, you lack air, and so things can feel too heavy. But I think, part of your soul growth in this lifetime is learning to not take things so seriously. And I think this will come naturally for you. But yeah, just, you don't have to take yourself or other people so seriously. You know, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. You can kind of just step back and just kind of laugh at everything. And yeah, and I think you might actually, develop a really great sense of humor, especially as you get older. I think it might change, in kind of a good way, maybe. But I think a big part of this is, opening yourself up and allowing yourself to be, maybe kind of emotionally vulnerable with others, especially in close relationships, close friendships, maybe family members, especially in romantic relationships, though. Again, coming back to that Venus conjunct North Node in Sagittarius, you have a lot to learn, a lot that you can learn through relationships or through love. That's very interesting. Let's see. And I would say you would very much be attracted to an airy person, a person with air in their chart. You have, let me see here. So you have Mars in Libra, and then you also have descendant in Aquarius. And then you generally lack air. You do have Neptune at the very last degree of Libra, and then you've got Mars in Libra as well. But other than that, you have no air planets. And generally speaking, when you lack an element in your chart, you're drawn to that type of energy in other people. And you're also drawn to your descendant, and you're lacking air and your descendant is air. You'd be very much attracted to air. So what that means is you'd be attracted to people who are quirky and different, who are much more lighter. Again, kind of coming back to the same concept here. Things can feel too heavy for you, and so it's refreshing to be with someone who's a little bit different, um, who's more just doesn't take things as seriously, and is more lighter, and just more light, and maybe more definitely an independent thinker. You'd be attracted to someone unique. You're the third Leo rising I've covered just recently, I've just realized. But yeah, Leo rising, I think you would probably be the initiator, maybe to some extent. Again, you're such a good leader with your Scorpio and your Capricorn, and you're also Leo rising. So yeah, again, you do lead with people. You're good at that. You do have that kind of charisma about you. But I think you might want to initiate with someone who is very much an independent person, or someone who's an independent thinker, individual thinker, someone kind of quirky and different from everyone else. And I see you as, again, even though you're kind of introverted, I think I just feel like you would know a lot of different people. And so I think you would be really intrigued in those kind of really unique people, those people that are different from everyone else. I think that would kind of just intrigue you. And especially if they're kind of, more detached and more easygoing and just very light, that's the type of energy that you would be attracted to. Someone who doesn't fit in with the crowd and someone kind of different or weird. I think that would intrigue you. And yeah, and then being with someone like that could really aid your soul growth and your development, because not only would it kind of help you to not take things so seriously, but um, it could also unlock your north node in Sagittarius, where Venus is, and you could learn there. You can also learn just generally by doing Sagittarian archetypal things like traveling very far would be, of course, that's good for anyone, for anyone's soul growth to, open up and learn, but especially for you, even more so than other people, you would benefit from, going to faraway places, or just being in environments that might be different than what you're used to. um, let's see what else here, but it's very physical, like having different physical experiences in the world that it might be different than what you're used to. Like traveling is the best example, that's the most obvious one, but or even just like learning about other cultures, or um, let's see what else, or even just having Venus there too. You might be attracted to someone who is from a different socioeconomic background than you, or maybe a different race or religion, or a different national origin, or someone from a different world than you, so to speak. That could be very, very intriguing and also aid in your soul development as well. I think, yeah, that would actually be really the perfect thing. That would help your growth in so many ways. Someone who is light and easygoing and detached, but also from a completely different like world of sorts than you. I think that would be so intriguing and fun, but it would also be so productive in terms of soul growth. Anyway, I'm kind of harping on you a lot with like this soul growth stuff. So let's see what else is in the chart. Let's see. You also don't have a lot of Earth planets. You just have the Moon in Capricorn, and then Jupiter's at the first degree of Virgo. You have Lilith in Capricorn as well. So I don't know. You would really, I think you want some type of status and authority and respect, and I think you would deserve it, because again, with those Scorpio and Capricorn placements, you grow up so independent. And I just noticed your Saturn is conjunct your Sun. I can't believe I just noticed that. I have a lot to say about that. So yeah, even more so, you work very hard for what you gain in life. You don't, I wouldn't see you as necessarily just, inheriting success so much. I think you really put in the hours. You make sacrifices. You put in the time. I'm getting chills as I say this, but I think that's really true. Like I think you do desire some level of like wealth and status, and good for you. I think you very much deserve that. You put in the time. No one else is just handing you this stuff. Like you're not just getting thousands of dollars from mom and dad, or or getting jobs lined up for you. You're making it work yourself. There's no one else. Of course, I'm sure there's people that help you. We should always be thankful of that. But at the same time, you're very much independent. At the end of the day, you're the one making your life work here, and you're the one, you've had to be really independent your whole life. And so yeah, I think you might desire some level of wealth and status, and good for you. I think that's awesome. But especially with Saturn conjunct the Sun, so that can make you kind of lean. It could physically make you kind of lean and pale. And then it could also make you, that would just enhance all the Capricorn energy. So you almost might relate to Capricorn a little bit more than you would Scorpio, even though you're a Scorpio Sun, just because, Saturn, that which rules Capricorn, is conjunct your Sun. So it's melded into, molded. It is been melded into your ego, your son's energy. So you're very you could be kind of critical. You have very high standards, but again, I think that's good for you. You put in the work to achieve, attain those high standards. Or um, like you're simultaneously modest, like you're very humble, but at the same time, I don't know, you have that steady drive about you where you do want big things. You do want some like power and status and some a little bit of money in life, and you're willing to put in the work though. That's the thing. So you're it's not, I don't see you like how do I put this? Like you would be willing to survive in an impoverished situation and to even work, an unpleasant job. You would, like, I don't see you wouldn't complain about that. You would just put in the hours every day to improve your situation. And yeah, again, I think that's really admirable. So yeah, you would you would live with whatever circumstance, but in a very powerful, gradual, yet also kind of quick way. You'd improve your circumstances by the hard work and the determination and the individualism that you are there for yourself. And not everyone has that. Like other people, might just panic and try to get help from someone else. They don't know what to do with for themselves. And I just think you are just so used to making things work for yourself. That's a really, really strong, I know I keep talking about this, but it's a really strong theme in the chart. Okay, and then also there's an implication here in sort of how your life is structured. So I see you with your main, I would say your main signs are Scorpio, Capricorn, and Leo. And so your life would begin very quickly. Like I said before, you'd become self-reliant very early on. I would see you as probably working at a young age, probably, talking to adults when you're not quite an adult yet, and already kind of learning how the world works, getting your life going, becoming an adult kind of early on, I guess you could say. Scorpio and Capricorn have that approach to life, and then Leo does too, with adding that fire in there. You approach things kind of quickly or abruptly in a way, and so that's kind of how your life would begin. You would begin your life very quickly, and there would be a major challenge right around the age of 28, 29, 30. And we all experience this with our Saturn return, but because your Saturn is conjunct your Sun, it would be much more potent, much stronger, especially because Saturn also rules your moon. So your life would completely change in your very late 20s going into age 30. This would happen again. You're actually just about to experience this again because, or wait, no. No, I'm sorry. I was confused. So you would experience this again going into age 60. Basically every 30 years you'd experience this cycle, and we all do again, but for you it'd be extra strong. Um, Let me see here. So, yeah, okay, and then basically what that means, okay, so basically what I'm dipping into the Saturn return. I can make a separate video about this. Actually, I have made one, and I will link it in the description. I'm gonna write that down. So you can go there for more information on the Saturn return because, again, it applies to everyone, but especially for you, yours would be extra strong, extra profound. It would really change your life in a very dramatic way. But basically, what that means, just real quick here, is that it's normal for in our 20s we're kind of reckless, or we're not really prioritizing things. We think we just have so much time in our lives that we don't have to bother with long-term plans or goals, or the more you know, things like that. Like we're kind of just goofing off more. Once you get to 28, 29, 30, you start to prioritize more long-term things, and you start to realize that your time is limited here. And so your priorities become a little different. You don't want to just mess around. You want something of structure, something of, true value. And we experience this in sort of a crisis at our late 20s, and again in late 50s as well. Um, it's a crisis because it's uncomfortable to learn these truths and to realize, okay, I've been kind of wasting time, or I've been reckless, or I've been spending too much, or I've been whatever it is, I've been drinking too much or whatever. And so, we have these, or some people have very strong, uh, you know, very strong experiences where they realize their whole life has been a lie and that they're living this entire life that's not right for them, that doesn't make them happy, that they have a marriage or a job that isn't, it just doesn't fit them. It's not their personality. So that is normal to experience in your late 20s, and then sometimes again in late 50s. The first one in your late 20s going to age 30 is always the biggest one, being first. It's the biggest kind of shock, I guess. But late 50s as well, we do experience these things to some extent as well. But anyway, the only reason why I'm talking about all this is because it's much more strong for you. That would really be life changing for you. And even leading up to it, because you have Mercury in Scorpio and Mars in Libra, so you might experience it early on. So age, 26, even 27, 20, 29, 30. You would experience those challenges. And then let's see, in your early to mid 30s, like age 32, 33, 34, you might experience a crisis with love or with your relationship, with your marriage if you have one at that time, because Saturn would be going over your Venus. And I think Saturn is a very key player in your chart. The Sun is as well, and it's interesting that they're conjunct in the fourth house Scorpio. But also with Saturn and Scorpio, your crisis in your late 20s would have much to do with intimacy and relying on other people. Um, Something to do with debts or inheritances or taxes, or like these shared resources are kind of scorpionic archetypes. And Saturn being in Scorpio indicates that you would have major challenges there. Challenges that you would, once you kind of face them and overcome them, you would be extra aware, extra wise, extra powerful in those areas, that you would be very capable of, I don't know, allocating resources, sharing resources, investing money, intelligently. Um, Something to do with that. There would be some kind of major change in your late 20s, and then you might experience an echo of that in your late 50s as well. But it has to do with kind of where you put your money, where you invest things, something of that nature. But it also has to do with intimacy as well. So maybe if you're sharing resources with someone else, or it could be that you're investing in certain banks or stocks. Because either way, it's almost like you're working with another person or other people to invest resources. That's kind of the more general or more archetypal um, description or version of it, I guess you could say. So there's some kind of major challenge there that's really pivotal for your soul growth that happens late 20s and then again late 50s. So definitely worth mentioning. And I see you as, with your IC in Libra and your South Node in Gemini. That's interesting that you do have air there. So I think as a child, I don't want to contradict myself. As a child, you might maybe take things too seriously, but you would also be very detached. Like, I think as a child, you'd be very observant and you would just kind of, I don't know, I think you would become really smart because your life begins so quickly. You'd be an extremely precocious child. You would not only be very observant of people, especially, but also relatively early on in life, you'd also, not only observe, but also, talk and interact with others. And you would be learning very quickly, especially with like life stuff. Like, I'm not necessarily talking about like learning like school, although it might apply to that too, but mostly like, learning social mannerisms and like how to talk to people, or how things kind of work in the world, how to get a job and stuff like that. You'd be learning those types of things like street smarts, I guess you could say. But you'd be learning those very early on. So yeah, I see you as an observant child, an intelligent child, someone who learns very quickly. With Mercury and Scorpio, you could be a little bit pessimistic or cynical. You might have, I don't know, you might worry a lot. Again, you kind of take things a little bit too seriously, and I don't want to sound critical, But that could be something that, you have challenges with is, it might be hard for you to just relax or to, trust other people or to just kind of relax and enjoy yourself. It's like you're always stuck in this kind of survival mode, especially earlier on in life. I think it can be hard to just kind of relax for you. And there's different pros and cons to everything. It's good that you are so self-reliant that you can be working all the time and making things happen and really working toward the future and building a life. But at the same time, every now and then you do have to cut yourself a break and rest. And I think that resting can be hard for you, or it can be hard for you to live a little, and to indulge sometimes, and that you don't always have to be working toward the future. You can also relax and enjoy yourself. You are Leo rising after all, and so I think it is part of your identity or part of your life lesson to learn to kind of indulge in things for the moment. And again, you do want those kind of finer things in life. You do want I don't know, the nice house and the nice vacations. And again, I see you as being more than capable of achieving that. And so that's really awesome. I hope what I'm saying is accurate because I'm just looking at a chart. So I never really know until you tell me. So I'd appreciate any feedback. But yeah, and then I also see Jupiter in Virgo, which is also, if we're talking about being, productive and working hard, Jupiter in Virgo is great because if, Virgo kind of rules all the little day to day activities and our kind of our habits and our work ethic, and Jupiter being there just technically it's in detriment, but it's really a great placement because Jupiter brings all that luck and expansion there. And so you would, I think you would be tidy, you'd be organized. That fits with these other placements in your chart as well. That you would, I don't know, I see you as being a very hard worker. That you make stuff happen, and you do so in kind of a modest way. You're not. I don't see you as being super flashy. Like yes, you can have that kind of commanding authority about you, or that commanding air that sort of demands respect. But at the same time, it's sort of you have this like internal confidence that kind of resonates outward. That's kind of what I see from you. So you're not someone who's super outgoing, who's calling all the shots or being domineering. I just see you as being very internal and having this internal confidence about you, and being very productive. You do make stuff happen, and I do think you're intelligent. Like you're very capable. You're intelligent, especially in terms of like, I don't think there's a word for it. I don't know the word, but I guess street smart is the closest thing I could think of. But it's like how people work. You know how society kind of works. You know how to get stuff done and to live. Even if you're living in a challenging circumstance, challenging society, or you can make it work. You have that ability. You can figure out who's who and talk to the right people, or just put in the hours and do the hard work, or whatever it is that you need to do. You're good at it. You're good at figuring out what to do and how to do it, and how to do it in the most efficient way to get to the next level as efficiently as possible. So that's really cool, and I very much admire that. What else? What else? What else? Let's see. Pluto and Leo. Yeah, so you're sort of at the end of the boomer generation, I would say, because most of them have Pluto and Leo. Um, so just generally, I mean, Pluto and Leo, generally speaking, is it's my personal opinion that Pluto is actually exalted in Leo, and so most people who are born with Pluto and Leo of that generation, they were born into a time where society was very much focused on them, and so um, they were very much kind of empowered and maybe even spoiled a little bit to some extent. And this more applies to your generation than you specifically. I don't see you personally as being spoiled. I see you as working very hard to earn everything that you get basically in life. But just your generation as a whole is kind of born into this. I don't know. It's almost political for me to even comment on that, but um, I would say that the Pluto and Leo generation was very accepted in society. Society was sort of focused on them. Um, so you do have that going on as well. Let me see what else here. Okay. Yeah, I see. Well, I guess this is now I'm just delving into the 50s, but with Uranus, Pluto, and Jupiter and Leo, that would be such an interesting time. There would be so much expansion in the world, so much growth and new stuff happening. It would almost be like a new world. So that's kind of the environment you would be born into. So that's kind of interesting. What else? What else? Mercury and Scorpio. So it can be kind of dark and pessimistic or cynical, but it can also have a great sense of humor. And I think especially combining with your Leo rising and your Capricorn moon, especially as you get a little bit older, maybe or maybe younger too. I'm not totally sure, but I don't know. I think you could have a really good sense of humor, like a really kind of maybe dry or dark sense of humor. You would have a lot of good reflexes or good instincts. You know, you are a Scorpio sun after all. So, yeah, you do have those kind of instant reflexes. Like, especially like if someone made a jab at you or was making fun of you, you would know exactly what to say to hold yourself. Or I don't know, you would know how to kind of deliver the right joke in the right way for the right crowd. You would be just kind of very good at that. Um, what else? What else? What else? Sun is in the fourth house, so you may be a little bit of a homebody, which is so conflicting because I see you as being so like career driven, but at the same time, you're I definitely see you as being more of an introvert at the same time, maybe being a little bit of a homebody. You do have been in Capricorn, so you're very humble and you're not always easily understood by others, especially on a deeper level. That's very prevalent with your Sun in fourth house Scorpio and Moon in sixth house Capricorn. So yeah, you're very humble, but at the same time, you do want those finer things in life, and you're willing to work for them. Okay, and then lastly, I mean, so you just have such a commanding presence. I keep saying that, but Scorpio Sun, Capricorn Moon, Leo Rising, and Aries Midheaven would all point to you having that authority about you, being very respectable, being looked up to, being a leader. Um, Again, I know this might sound silly, but I could see you as being like a leader of a country or something with this chart, like a leader of maybe your own little empire of sorts, or maybe like running a business or something, or I don't know. You do have Mars in Libra though, and so you avoid confrontation. You don't generally like confrontation. I think if someone starts something with you, you're able to handle it, especially in a strategic way. So if someone confronts you or I don't know, starts a confrontational situation with you, you're very much able to handle yourself, but you don't like um you're more able to defend yourself in a long-term strategic way. Yeah, like you could get revenge really well or defend yourself very well or strengthen yourself very well. You're not so much someone who wants to get into a fight right away. You want to avoid confrontation. You're diplomatic. Um, let's see what else. And yeah, and then real quick, I just want to touch on one more time that your Venus is in Sagittarius and your Mars is in Libra, and then your descendant is in Aquarius. So you would definitely be attracted to people who are kind of more light and outgoing, more easygoing. Someone who's just kind of fun and more laid back. Like you're kind of the more serious one or the more disciplined one, and you would like to be with someone who is more light, more easygoing, doesn't take things so seriously. And again, I think that being attracted to a person like that could be actually really beneficial for you, not only in just having more fun, but also in your soul growth. Anyway, I'm starting to repeat myself, but I think I covered pretty much everything that I wanted to say. Let me know, definitely, email me or what have you, and you can email me at manic.mercurian@gmail.com or just leave a comment on this video or actually any of my videos. But let me know how I did. I would like to hear what resonated or what didn't. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer as well. But thank you for the request and thanks for watching. And I will see you later.